Live. This is CBS 4 News First at 5.
Now, each week, hundreds in South Florida come to hear a controversial message from this self-proclaimed Son of God.
I'm Jesus Christ, man.
Tonight, meet the local preacher who claims he's Jesus Christ.
You may not agree, but we've seen the hundreds of followers he has here in South Florida.
Add to that the thousands that he claims to have around the world. CBS 4's Ileana Varela spoke with him. Ileana.
Maggie, over the years, many have claimed to be the new Messiah. This latest entry is a self-proclaimed Jesus who favors designer sunglasses, wears a Rolex, and drives a Beamer. And you don't have to drive far to see him. He's right here in South Florida. But
I'm Jesus Christ, man. The second coming of Christ.
his name is Jose Luis de Jesus Miranda, but his followers call him Apostle, Dad, or simply Jesus Christ Man.
He is God. He is God.
And they lavish him with money and gifts.
I don't only have one role, I have about 3, because they want to give it to me. It's like when that woman came to Jesus with the expensive perfume and spread it in his feet. He didn't reject it. So when someone gives me a watch or something or a gift, I receive it, you know. I like them too. They're nice.
This self-proclaimed son of God is a 60-year-old former heroin addict and convict. The divorced father of 4, born in Puerto Rico, now lives in South Florida with his second wife. From this warehouse in Doral, he presides over the Creciendo en Gracia, or Growing in Grace ministry, which he also calls God's government on earth. And as any other head of state, he is protected by a security detail that mimics the Secret Service. Miracles, healing the sick, you have to walk on water. Do you do any of those things?
No, not necessarily. That's not. See, my evidence is the church, what I'm doing worldwide.
What he is doing at more than 300 centers in Central and South America, Cuba, and the U.S. is preaching a message of freedom to indulge. Because according to this modern Messiah, there is no sin, no devil, no hell to pay.
The devil is destroyed, hell doesn't exist, no condemnation for the chosen ones.
It is music to the ears of his followers, mostly Hispanic men and women who believe they are God's chosen people, predestined for salvation, no matter what they do on earth. They also believe all other faiths are false and must be destroyed, from Catholics to Baptists to Jehovah's Witnesses. And so they organize marches like this one in Miami, at which they destroy religious books and symbols. They also have a campaign aimed at disrupting other religious gatherings, sometimes with violent consequences.
What disturbs me is that he fits into the typical mold of a cult leader. Total, complete submission to his authority.
Florida International University religion professor Daniel Alvarez, who has a master's in theology from Harvard Divinity School, is among those who fear Creciendo en Gracia has the makings of a destructive cult.
He destroyed my family.
So do former members like Regina Albarracin, who left the church about 5 years ago. Her husband soon followed, but their son Alvaro remained to become one of the ministry's biggest financial backers, donating more than $1 million to the church. And he is not alone. Many others have set up businesses in De Jesus' name that pour cash into the ministry.
So I know, we're going to be ruling the whole world.
A web entrepreneur and self-made millionaire, Alvaro Albarracin left his wife and children for the man he calls Jesus, remarried to another church member, and rarely speaks to his parents, who insist he has been brainwashed by the man they certainly don't call Jesus.
You think he's Jesus Christ? No, I don't think so.
What do you think he is?
He's a devil.
You think he's a devil?
Yes, I do.
Well, he says the devil doesn't exist.
He said that, but it's him.
Regina Albarracin is afraid for her son's soul, and Professor Alvarez says she should be. Most of these movements, he says, self-destruct sooner or later.
Lots of broken lives, a lot of the spiritual and emotional and psychological debris that will be strewn on the path of this gentleman. The fallout from this would be inestimable, particularly for the lives of the people who get caught up in this kind of a movement.
But unfazed by the criticism, De Jesus continues to plan for the role he believes he is destined to play on the world stage.
the real government of God upon the earth, reigning all the nations.
And you will rule?
I will be the president of the biggest government that this earth has experienced.
De Jesus, which literally means of Jesus, broadcasts his message around the world through a 24-hour cable channel and netcast, and he is convincing many, drawn by his charisma and the promise of salvation, no matter how bad they want to be. Because remember, he claimed sin does not exist.
You're free to practice any kind of religion in this country that you want, but it scares me when they get to the part about bringing down the other religions. How dangerous do you think that could become?
Well, obviously, if you talk to any of the other people who have been the target of the protests, they don't like it one bit because, again, this is a reason why we live in the United States. But I think one of the most controversial messages that all the other religions are against is this concept that you are free to indulge. So theoretically, you can rape, steal, kill. If you're one of the chosen ones, you might go to jail if you're caught. But in the end, when you die, you will still go to heaven, or what they call the cloud of witnesses.
Well, ironically, if you go to his church, that automatically makes you a chosen one, right?
Exactly.
That's the idea.
Thank you, Ileana. See the controversy.
Now I've heard it all.
In a tattoo parlor on trendy South Beach,
You did the 666 really big? Yeah.
sat the daughter of the man who claims to be God.
He's back. He's here to teach us that we should reign in life, that there is no sin, and today we're honoring him with a symbol.
Joanne de Jesus is one of several dozen members of a religious sect called Creciendo en Gracia, or Growing in Grace. They were tattooed on their arms, ankles, even their necks with 666, the biblical sign of the Antichrist. Why? Because their spiritual leader says he is the Antichrist, not the embodiment of evil, but rather the second coming.
666, Antichrist means do not put your eyes on Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Put it in Jesus after the cross.
And that's you.
That's me.
Andy says the word Antichrist is a bad translation of a word that actually means the new Christ, the second coming. Puerto Rican-born Jose Luis de Jesus Miranda founded the sect 20 years ago in a warehouse outside Miami.
You receive it, you accept it, you confess it, and it's done unto you.
The charismatic 61-year-old de Jesus claims millions of followers, most in Latin America. His sect does have hundreds of churches, cable TV stations, and says it brought in $1.4 million in donations last year. And he boasts of a rapidly growing presence in the United States. In an interview with us in September, he declared,
I do greater things than Jesus of Nazareth. Much greater.
Now, sporting his new tattoos,
666. Triple S. Huh?
de Jesus says those expecting the second coming of Christ on a cloud with angels have misinterpreted what Jesus himself said.
He said it. You won't see me anymore because he will come in another body, which is me.
He's in your head. He's inside the heads of those people.
De Jesus is dangerous, says religion professor Daniel Alvarez, because he believes he's God.
These megalomaniacal moves are the ones that are very disturbing because he shows that he does believe he's on hype, and he's capable of saying to his members, go tattoo 666 on your arm. I believe he's also capable of asking his church members to do even something more dramatic than that.
De Jesus laughs at the implication.
They always say those things. They're going to keep waiting for me to kill everybody, you know.
Right.
I'm giving life to people.
De Jesus is referring to the suicide deaths of more than 900 killed in the so-called Jonestown Massacre nearly 30 years ago. But he says mass suicide would never happen with his followers.
If somebody tells us, listen, drink some Kool-Aid and then we'll go to heaven, that's not true. We are already in heavenly places.
De Jesus preaches that heaven can be found here on earth simply by following him. There's no sin and there is no hell. And that's part of why he's attracting so many followers. But marking your body with 666 seems an unusual way to show you're a Christian, even unnerving the tattoo artist.
I see you wearing a cross.
Protection.
John Zarella, CNN, Miami Beach.